My name is Marita Groban, and during this semester, I have learned a lot about the internet, social media, and being a digital citizen. But what does it actually mean to be a good digital citizen, and how do people think about topics related to this? To figure out more about this, I decided to ask some questions to a few of the people I surround myself with. Do you ever question or second guess the things you read online, or do you believe all you see to be true?
Generally, I believe what I read, but if it's really unthinkable, I might be thinking twice and not believe it.
I definitely second guess things that I see online. I feel like that's something that you learn at like a really young age. Like not everything on the internet is always true. And now like just like scrolling through like Facebook when like there's just so many like talks about like politics and like other controversial topics, like it's hard not to like question that. And then you like are like attracted to like reading like the comments and like wanting to see what other people have to say. So it shows like there's obviously like two sides to every story.
I think I second guess everything that I read online, honestly. I mean, I follow a wide variety of news outlets. Like, I do follow Fox News, I do follow CNN, all those different things. So I get both of the sides of the story, honestly. So whatever I do read, I want to, if there's something that I'm interested in at least, and something that's going to affect me to some degree, I do double check it to see if it's actually true and what's the other side of the story, honestly. And I think that's very important to do in general because there's so much misinformation out there. So yeah, for me, that's at least what I do.
In what way can manipulated photos be related to fake news?
Usually, if I see a picture and it's like, what? Is that real? And then I go in and read the article, and then it's like, of course, no, it's not. It's fake.
More photos than not are actually manipulated on the internet these days. Like you can make girls look like skinnier, or make like you can like put makeup on your face and like certain apps and stuff like that. So it's definitely opened my eyes to like the power that social media and the internet has. I definitely think it's affected the way that I see news, because I take everything with like a grain of salt, and I just know that like everything that I hear and see, you need to do research on. And I feel like that's really important too. If you see something and you're curious about it or you want to know more, don't just take that for its face value. Really, everything can be manipulated if you put your mind to it. And now these days it's really easy with all these apps, and you can just do it right on your phone in like 5 seconds.
What I see most of when it comes to that is probably, it might be bad to say, but influencers, honestly. And I do think that could be misinformation, or if you want to call it fake news in that sense. A lot of that stuff, especially when it comes to photo manipulation, just making yourself look better to some degree, and when it's not really the case and it's not really reality, that is, I mean, that is some of the worst fake news you can put out there, in my opinion, because you create a standard that's not achievable, and that is very acceptable for young people. So it does piss me off a little bit, because I mean, I was a young boy once and I was influenced by whatever I saw from people. It's definitely a different kind of false news and a different kind of misinformation than just from straight news that we see, honestly.
When you get information from the internet, do you share that with others? And if you do you make sure that the information is correct first?
Normally, I don't share anything. I don't like to share too much, but I always make sure that it's true, or at least I read it first, and if I think it's something valuable, I might be sharing it. But normally I don't share posts or like these chain letters, if you can call it that. Normally I just share my own pictures and my own status.
So the only things that like I share on the internet like without a second thought is like quotes or like pictures of like family, or just really general things that don't like really wouldn't be controversial in any way. But anything that has to do with something that may not actually be correct, even if I think, oh my gosh, that's definitely correct, I always like to give it a second look and to do my own research. And that being said, like if I were to share information, I'd always say, you know, make it clear that it wasn't mine. And that has to go for like physically clicking and like sharing something. When it comes to like a conversation, like I always like to add like, oh, I saw here, like, is this correct, or not like take it as my own words, because everyone's had different like experiences and background that they can be like, oh, that's definitely true, or that's definitely not.
So my threshold for sharing things that I read online is a lot lower speaking about it in person to someone I trust versus actually reposting it or resharing it or retweeting it or whatever. In general, stuff that I read online, I rarely repost it or make it reappear for someone else in some sense. I will speak to it with people close to me, and we discuss both sides of it. But I think that, you know, just reposting something in that moment because I might be like, oh, this is new to me. I think that's a little bit irresponsible often. So that's me trying not to share things that I believe might be true right then and there, but later on find out that it's misinformation. So I'm very thoughtful of whatever it is that I interact with and whatever it is that I repost in that sense.
How would you describe your social media habits?
I normally use Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram. Every week I get this notice on my phone that I've spent about 2 or 3 hours a day on the screen. That could be more than just social media. I use Snapchat a lot, taking nature pictures, sharing it with my friends. I check Facebook every day just to see updates and news, maybe fake news. I try to go on Instagram once a day. Don't remember to do it every day. I only use it to see my friends what they have posted, and sometimes I post myself. I never really try to see what other unknown people do.
So I used to be on social media a ton prior to quarantine. Like I had every social media app, just kind of like a lot of people do. And during quarantine, I deleted a lot of it just because I noticed I was like literally sitting on my couch for hours, and kind of going back to the manipulated photo question, like I would just overthink and be like, oh my gosh, is this legit? And when you're in COVID, you have a lot of time to do that. So since then, I've actually deleted the majority of my social media. For the most part right now, I'm pretty much off of social media.
I'm most on Twitter, then it's probably Facebook, and then it's, I would say, Snapchat and Instagram after that. I'm a sports guy, so I follow sports a lot. I mainly use social media for information and news and, you know, what's going on in the things that I care about, which is mainly sports, and I want to stay updated with politics as well. But I do ensure that I get both sides of it. So it's really a place for information for me, and also, you know, being critical of that information and getting both sides of the story.
Have you ever been, or are you addicted to social media?
In some ways, maybe yes. I'm quite addicted to Snapchat. I'd like to share pictures of my day to my friends, but when I'm at work, I don't have any possibility to go on internet, so I don't check my phone at all during maybe 10 hours. But if it's been that long, it's like when I go home, I have to check what's been happening today. So yeah, I probably am a bit addicted.
I remember like my freshman year of college, and I kind of felt the need to like have upkeep with my image. And I do think that it got to a point where I got paranoid of making sure this was posted if I was on vacation somewhere, like making sure that people knew. And it was kind of taking away from me being like present in the moment, rather than, you know, just being so paranoid about that everyone else knew. So yeah, I definitely was addicted maybe at one point.
No, I don't think I've ever been addicted to social media or ever felt that way. I think that's mainly because I got so many other things in my life that I'm very interested in. I watch a lot of sports. My girlfriend drags me out on walks and on doing active things. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think I've ever been addicted to it. I'll check it now and then. I'll probably be on Twitter a little bit too much, and I spend too much time on it. But I'm not addicted. It's not like if I go through my day, I gotta be like, oh, I gotta get on Twitter, I gotta get on Instagram or something like that.
Different algorithms show different people content appropriate for them to keep them on the app longer. Have you experienced this? In what way?
I just see who I'm following. And lately there is, in the middle of all my followers, something I'm not following is coming up. And I've been wondering, why is that there? Because I haven't been searching for that. And so that might be it.
Yes, I definitely have. I didn't have TikTok for very long. Had it like in the beginning of quarantine, which is when I knew I'm on this way too much. But I would like search things. Like I always would like search like dog videos or cooking videos, and then that's all pretty much my feed was.
I remember during the election, I did listen a lot to Ben Shapiro. And what I did realize was that I got, not promotions, but I got all these suggestions about viewing things that was even more far right. I think the bad thing about the algorithms is that they will reaffirm to you whatever it is that that you have watched previously. So if you only get one side of the story, if you only get Ben Shapiro, Donald Trump, all these people on the right side of politics, you're going to keep getting people like that, or you're going to keep getting information like that. Versus, if the algorithm was set up so that you will get the contrary stuff to whatever it is that you watched earlier, you can get more of a whole picture of what is going on.
Have you ever experienced looking up a product on Amazon or Google and then start seeing ads about it on your social media?
Just talking about it inside my home with my husband or my children. And the next time I've gone on to Facebook or whatever, the exact same thing pops up. And I'm like, how the hell did they know we were talking about that?
For example, I got like my mom like this soap, and like now I'm getting like ads for it on my email, or like it's coming up on like the Instagram app, like, and you can just tell that, even if I do something on my phone, like it'll show up on my computer or whatever. So you can tell that everything is kind of intertwined, and that it definitely, the internet is watching you and gives you this algorithm to make you buy the product or whatever that may be.
Yeah, this happens a lot. I don't think it was too long ago, I bought my girlfriend a pair of Nikes, and she keeps getting that the exact same Nike shoes. She keeps getting ads on Instagram. It's not even been on her phone. It probably has something to do with us being on the same network and all those things, but it happens all the time. It's kind of dangerous. And I've seen it with other things as well. So what really scares me is whenever I speak about or talk about something and it starts popping up. Like I remember talking about getting Starbucks, didn't search it up, just talked about it. A few hours later, it was like an ad that comes up like, oh, go get Starbucks or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's where we're at, but it's kind of dangerous. But yeah, I have experienced those things.
And to wrap this up, I asked one final question to all participants. In what way do you contribute to being a good or positive digital citizen?
I try to comment good. I mean, if I don't have anything good to say, I normally don't say it.
I like to make sure that the information that I share is accurate, and if I'm not sure, I like to ask questions. I think it's super valuable to do my own research, and that's something that I've been doing actually really recently, especially in like my job search post college. I'm like, well, wait a second, is this legit? Look into this company, compare it to other companies, and like really dive deep into making sure that I'm sharing accurate information. So when I am having a conversation, I'm not going in with confidence that this is true, and they're like, well, wait a second, no. So I guess it's just ensuring that whatever information I share, if it's not mine, making it really obvious that it's not mine, or just being open to others' opinions, and just being willing to listen and have an open line of communication just about things going on in the world, because the internet and social media is such a huge part of our daily lives now.
I think we all have a responsibility of understanding, how is it the digital world works right now, and it works in the terms of algorithms. You get more of whatever it is that you're interested in because they want to keep you on your phone so they can earn ad money and all those things. So I think that you have a responsibility at this point, especially when you're educated about it, to ensure that you follow both sides of the story, or you follow opposite people who have opposite views, and to ensure that you're not just going to keep getting reaffirmed about the stuff that you might think is true. You need to get that other side of it. I think that's really important. The other thing is when you have discussions with people in your real life about things that might be dangerous online, you speak about both sides of the story, and it's not just one side of it that is true. As a digital citizen, ensure you get all the information before you draw a conclusion and say, okay, this is what's right. I think that's important.
Clearly, different people have different habits and view and use social media and news in different ways. I personally am very addicted to social media, and I found it very inspiring listening to others close to my age that don't have that problem. And they motivate me to get more off my phone, as well as think twice about everything related to the internet, because we really don't know what is real and not today, or what happens to the info we put out there. Keeping this in mind, I will continue to do what I can to be a good digital citizen.